Rick, Sales Ninja. So, manager involvement in a sale, we're going to talk about that this week because it turns out research indicates 82% of people buy more if a manager gets involved. But we're going to find out, is that the real story or is it something quite different? I don't know. So let's find out on Sales Ninja. Rick, Sales Ninja, hard-hitting interview. Talking about the role of a manager in the buying process. So if you're buying something and the manager rolls in at some point, do you appreciate that as a customer?
I think I would appreciate it that he's maybe following up on the sale and coming to say hello and introducing himself. In that sense, I would.
So is there any time when a manager's involvement maybe upsets you in some way? You find it unsettling?
Not that I can think of. I've had experiences where I've had to call the manager over for whatever reason.
Oh, you're one of those customers. Okay. So you do like the managers coming over then? That seems like you appreciate the attention.
If I've asked him to come over and he does, I really like that.
Rick, Sales Ninja hard-hitting interview. Managers, we see them walking about. You're buying something. Do you appreciate the involvement of a manager in a transaction? So you're dealing with a sales associate, manager rolls in. Do you like that process?
Absolutely. The salesperson is usually engage you and talk to you and heard a little bit about what you're looking for, and they've narrowed down a few options. And if the manager gets involved to help finalize that or make sure things are going well from a macro standpoint, that's just excellent.
Is it ever not appreciated if a manager comes into a process like that?
Well, you like to see them showing respect for and trust for their salesperson. So if they're interfering and veering it off a direction, that's a bit on the transparent side. So we don't really want to see that happen. But if they're supporting their salesperson and helping make sure that things are going the direction you wanted them to go, then I think that's the best way to participate.
Do you ever call in a manager, say, if you wanted a pricing discount, perhaps?
Clearly, anytime you're buying something, there is that wiggle room, there is that negotiation room between what you're willing to pay and what's going on. And clearly, the salesperson doing their best to provide what you need, but certainly at some point, the manager having that higher oversight for a profit margin and the rest of it. If you are far apart, unhesitantly, it not only is going to get the result you want, but it's going to ease up the singular pressure on that salesperson who you've got to respect and work with. So.
Rick, Sales Ninja hard-hitting interview. So, Les, you're a salesperson.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, microphone is tough here. When you're dealing with a sale, do you like it when a manager becomes involved?
I do, especially our manager, yes.
Is there any times when you maybe not appreciate the involvement of a manager in the sales process?
Well, I think initially when you're making contact with the customer, establishing rapport, and then you're probing questions. I mean, that part, I think, the manager doesn't need to be involved unless there's a personal contact where the manager actually knows that client as well. Absolutely, I think it's important for them to acknowledge him. But during the sale or after the sale, definitely it's important. I think it's kind of nice the manager could at least present themselves, right, and show appreciation for that client being in the store.
So we found out that manager involvement actually increases the chances of a transaction happening. Research supports that. 82% say that if a manager gets involved, they'll actually buy more. So if you're a manager in a store, you may want to actually pay more attention to the floor instead of doing whatever managers do, which is, well, we're not sure. So get involved, customers like it, and so do your salespeople. Weird. Rick, Sales Ninja.